Good morning. Those that don't know me, I'm Karen Robinson. I'm a member of the Koinonia team. And as we continue our fall series, we will be going through toward the end of October. And today, we're excited to have a speaker from second course. But let's begin with prayer. God of all creation, fill us with a passion for justice and dignity for each neighbor in our community. Guide and support us through Koinonia to follow your example and your command. To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you. Transform us through your Spirit to become conduits of your love and compassion in all that we do, so we become reconciled to you and your creation. In the name of the triune God, amen. Those of you who are at the 9 o'clock service, Nancy certainly gave a sermon today that goes hand in hand with Koinonia and ministry. We've learned a lot about our community's challenges and struggles, and as Reverend Nancy said, God will point us to how we respond toward a solution. Today, our speaker is Colin Bramlett, with the support of Alice Davis. Colin has been in the restaurant business for over 20 years, and Alice, a colleague and friend, has been a career educator here in Cabarrus County for over 30 years. They became friends because they share the same core values. Number one, your past does not necessarily determine your future. And two, education is the key to change and self-improvement. Today, Colin will tell us about second course Culinary and Life Skills Center that was established to give persons re-entering society a path forward. Please join me in welcoming Colin Bramlett. Colin, if you'll turn your speaker on, I will turn mine off.
Okay, you're gonna assist me here.
That button right there. Yeah, there you go.
Good morning, everybody. It's a wonderful day, another day to be above ground. So I have to thank God for allowing me the opportunity to be here and to be able to tell you all about second course. And before I get into speaking about second course, I want to tell a little bit about Colin Bramlett, which I don't have enough time of your time today to tell you everything about me, but I'll try to touch on some of the most important things that brought me to this point and the reason why I'm here today. We all make mistakes in life. Sometimes those choices, those mistakes that we make are consequences. So I had to deal with consequences because of my actions when I was much younger. And those consequences led me to being incarcerated and giving up 16 years of my life. During the course of that time, it was a period to where God touched me and allowed me to see my mistakes and see that He didn't create me to be the person that I had became, and giving me another opportunity to change my life. And Nancy said something that was also one of the main things while I was incarcerated, that my past would not determine my future. And where I was at wasn't going to be where I was going. And that there was a bigger purpose in my life. I always loved to cook. My grandmother, she started me cooking when I was about 9 years old. And I came home hungry one day from school, and Mom hadn't went to the grocery store yet. And my grandmother said, well, if you want something to eat, you look in there and find you something, because your mother hadn't gone to the store yet. The only thing that was in the freezer were a couple of frozen items, and there was some cauliflower in there. And I took the cauliflower out and seasoned it up, put some butter on it. And I tell you, I can tell you right now, I still believe it tasted like crab. And I fell in love with cauliflower. one of the first things I ever learned how to make. My mother was somewhat of a baker. She baked cakes all the time. So I began to watch her in the kitchen, and my grandmother would teach me certain things. And as I got older, I got jobs cooking, and I was working at UNCW College in Wilmington, and one of the chefs asked me about did I know how to make a roux. Needless to say, I didn't know the terminology, but I knew how to make a roux because my grandmother showed me how to make gravy from flour and butter and all that. So I knew, but I didn't know the terminology. And when he started making it, oh, I know how to make that. So while I was incarcerated, I met this gentleman called Mr. John Dabbs. And John Dabbs helped me tremendously. He was in charge of the in-house culinary program at Anson Correctional. And he and I became friends. He didn't look at me as an inmate. And he told me, he said, Colin, I'm gonna help you. And he began to really mentor me while I was inside. And he said, I don't know why you're here, but there's a purpose. And he said, and I'm gonna help you in the right direction. Him and another gentleman, Derek James, he worked with Southern Piedmont Community College in Anson, and the program was connected with the prison program, and he was Mr. Dabb's boss. And they both began to work with me and got me a job with Max Breakfast in Anson County. And I went there to work in the kitchen and on work release, and within 2 weeks' time, they made me the assistant kitchen manager. I was released from Anson in 2010, went to the Community Culinary School in Charlotte, and from there I went to the Charlotte College, CPCC. Thank you, Alice. Went to CPCC and took up dietary management. I took dietary management, and I took numerous self-help courses with different culinary cuisines, Italian, Chinese, you name it, I tried to learn it. And I continued to grow, and I would not stop pursuing my dream of having my own business. I met another gentleman called Joseph Alexander, and he became my brother. And we began to start off in this venture of catering. We catered weddings every Saturday down in Charlotte in the Dilworth community, the Big Chill. And from there, we met the Patels, a group of Indians that opened up a restaurant right here in Branchview called Bonfire. And we opened that restaurant for them, and we began to continue to grow, and our catering business grew. And then we we went and revamped Bonfire in Indian Trail, and from there, they allowed us an opportunity to buy into the restaurants. We did that for about 5 years, and then it was time for us to branch off on our own, and Extraordinary Catering opened up. The restaurant is on Union Street now, called Reds on Union, which I am no longer a part of it. Reason being, I ended up getting COVID almost 2 years ago, had pneumonia and a heart attack. It became too stressful, the long hours and everything, and it made me realize that one of the things that I really wanted to do was to give back to helping people, because somebody helped me, somebody gave me a second chance. And that's always been my passion. I would go back to the prison and teach the inmates certain culinary skills and how to do certain things, and that made me feel really good being a part of that program. But the restaurant took me away from that because of the time that it consumed of my life. But now, Alice and I, we began to talk. Her husband and I became good friends because of the restaurant. He owns the property. And then Alice and I became friends because I would always be trying to cook something and show them, my skills, and oh, taste this cake, and oh, taste this, and then Alice loves my food. So we started talking about a nonprofit, which is Second Course. And Second Course Culinary and Life Skills Center was set up to help people that are coming out of prisons, jails, drug rehabs, domestic violence shelters, or even someone just coming off of the street that just need help. Because I believe that everybody deserves a second chance. And we all have to follow rules and regulations. Sometimes we might not like them, but there are rules put in place for a reason. And, we have instructions, and sometimes people don't like to follow instructions. Sometimes people just have a hard time following instructions. So if they can't follow instructions and they need somebody to instruct them, then there has to be an instructor. And Alice and I want to be those instructors. We want to help people to grow to their full potential, help them realize that the life that they're living doesn't have to be that life. In the United States, we talk about the recidivism rate. And right now, 44% of people that are incarcerated return back to prison or jail, and within 3 years. And within 5 years, 37% return back. So it's like a revolving door. Even though you go in and get out, if you don't have the necessary tools that you need to keep from going back, you're going to continue to repeat that cycle. And in repeating that cycle, prisons is big business. You're a number. Somebody is making money off of that inmate in that bed. Now, when I was there, and I know the number has changed, but it costs about $33,000 for me to be incarcerated per year. And when you multiply that times the hundreds of inmates that are incarcerated all over, thousands are incarcerated all over the United States, that's big money, big money. But what we want to do is to help reduce that recidivism rate. We want to give them those tools that they need to survive. We want to give them a foundation. They're not going to become a chef because they came to Second Course, but what they can become is a better individual. We want to give them that foundation in the culinary field and in life skills to help them be able to make a better choice in life. We want to give them that foundation to where when they walk into that restaurant or that kitchen or wherever they go in the culinary field, that chef or that kitchen manager will see, oh, they have foundation, they have structure. They know their way around the kitchen. They understand sense of urgency. They can read basic measurements, which is very important because if you can't read basic measurements, how are you going to follow a recipe? There were so many people in the community culinary school that I went to in Charlotte that didn't know basic measurements. And I'm saying to myself, this is something that's important. If this is a field that you want to pursue, that you can read a basic measurement, that you can read a recipe, because if you can't, then you would be no use to that employer. And if you're no use to that employer, you won't have a job. If you don't have a job, then what are you going to resort back to? Old habits, old way of thinking, old places, old people. You're going right back into that same cycle, and therefore the recidivism rate continues to grow. It doesn't reduce. When we started this, it was a challenge because COVID hit and I got sick, but we have stayed the course and we have networked with Opportunity House. We also, key thing, we also feed the homeless too. And I was telling Alice the other day, we had a meeting with First Presbyterian and we had some leftover food, and I went out, made up the boxes to take to the homeless on Church Street. And I felt bad because there were 7 people sitting out there and I only had 5 plates. and 2 people didn't get to eat. But next time I'll make sure I have more. But that's all that was left over from that day. But we also feed CVANT once a month, and we've been feeding Opportunity House, and then we'll go out and give out plates like on Church Street when we have extra food. But our program, we're still we're still in our seeding stage of trying to build up our school, build up the program. We feed preschoolers, 2 preschools, bilingual preschools, twice a week, and there's a Christian academy that just opened up in the other part of the school where we're at. Our location is 310 Kerr Street. I don't know if anyone knows the old Long School. That's where we're at now. And we're in the kitchen and cafeteria part. Well, the Daniel Academy moved in, so they allowed us to feed their children, and they come into our cafeteria every day and they eat, and we feed the kids there. But it also gives us an opportunity, as Alice is coming from an education background of dealing with younger kids, to see the young kids, because they're our future. You know, young kids look at us adults as leaders, as guides in their life, and they become what they see. You know, you raise your children and they see their parents doing this or doing that, and they're proud of their parents. So your children want to be like their mom or their dad or their uncle or aunt, somebody in the family. You know, my family, my mother was the strong one in my family. My father wasn't weak. He worked all the time, but my father drank all the time. But he worked all the time. He provided, but there was not a completion in our family. And my brother was my dad to me. He was the one I looked up to. And I ended up losing my brother to tragedy, and it caused my life to go on a downward spiral. But I believe that those children that come into the cafeteria every day that we feed, their faces are so pure and innocent, and they look and say, "Oh, that was some really good cake today." And I made this applesauce cake that they all love, and now they're requesting this applesauce cake for next week. I made lemon cake the other day, and the lemon cake I thought was very delicious, but I guess a lot of kids don't like lemon. So they didn't like that too much, and they came to the window, "Are you gonna make the applesauce cake next week?" And the principal said, "We have a request for the applesauce cake." I said, "Okay, I'll make it for you." So when I leave here today, I'm going to the school to prepare applesauce cake for tomorrow for the kids. But we're reaching out in the community. First Presbyterian, one of our big supporters, has been helping us a lot. We're getting ready to have a fundraiser November the 6th. And this fundraiser, it's going to be hosted at First Presbyterian on Church Street. We're going to be serving barbecue chicken, mac and cheese, green beans, coleslaw, and rolls. And there'll be desserts and beverages. But we're also looking for a sponsorship, you know. So anybody that you know that's willing to be a sponsor, please contact Karen Robertson, and she can get in touch with us. We're sending out information for this big thing. It's our first one, our first fundraiser, and we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the support in the community, because it's not about me. It's not about Alice. It's about helping individuals to be better in the community, and to be able to provide and take care of their families. I never would have thought that I would be where I'm at today, but I knew I wasn't going to be where I was at. And sometimes I get a little tongue-tied and you know, because I get emotional, just being able to stand here and talk to you, because many years ago, I hate to say it, but you wouldn't have wanted me standing here talking to you if you'd known me. But I do believe that because an individual made a mistake, that individual does not have to be the same person. Because a lot of people like me today, you know, and I believe in change, and I believe that it's possible for anybody to change. You just have to have a desire and a willingness to do so. And I was determined that I was not going to give up. You know, I heard a lot of no's when I got out, and I felt like I'm not going to let it stop me. I mean, I cleaned bathrooms, showers, worked in a fitness center. I had 4 jobs, went to school, and I mean, I would set my alarm on my watch to wake me up, hour and a half on the hour, because I had to get up and go do something else. And I did that, and without any regret, without even thinking about it, it was automatic, because I knew that in order for me to have something, be able to take care of myself, be able to make my mother proud, that I needed to stay the course. You know, I wasn't going to turn back. And I'm so grateful that God placed people in my lives to help me to the next step. Mr. Dabbs, he's like a dad to me. And, you know, when people tell you, I don't care about what you did. All I care about is what you're doing now. Let's talk. And, you know, for somebody to say those things to me and not look at what I did, because I'd fill out an application for this, and, oh, yeah, you're just the person we need. I'm going to make you my banquet chef. Downtown Bank of America, their corporate dining. And when they check my background, I'm so sorry, we're not going to be able to use you. You know, we have, you know, rules and protocol, and it's unfortunately, I wish I could. It's not up to me. Okay. Well, I didn't let that stuff discourage me. I heard a lot of no's, but I said, I'm going to make a change. And guess who's not going to tell me no? I'm not going to tell myself no. So I created my own yes. And with that, I'm in the position now that I want to help people. You know, I don't want to be that person saying, well, no, I can't do this for you. Yes, I can, but are you willing to do what it's going to take to be able to receive that yes? You know, because I feel like an individual can achieve anything with the right support, with the right instructions. And I'm an example of that. From coming through the years of incarceration to owning my own business, being my own entrepreneur, and to now, you know, wanting to give back, you know, because our mission is to help people, you know, help those vulnerable populations, those people that have backgrounds that can't get through the background check because of their past, because society doesn't want to realize that we all make mistakes. Some people made great mistakes, just never got caught, you know, and it's just the way of life, but it doesn't have to be the final decision. It doesn't have to be the final. 0 students enrolled, but we have potential students that are going to come. I had to have one operation, I have to have another one, knee replacement, in December. But we are still looking to have a couple of students before I go out in December, and then when I come back next year, start off with our schedule as far as our curriculum with our schools.
So most of the fundraising is coming from First Pres for what you need?
I wouldn't say most. We have informal fundraisers twice a month with just fried chicken luncheon and fried fish luncheon, and then we've had donations. But that's been a source of income for us. Oh, I hate talking.
So that's just been helping us build. It's like we're getting prepared, and we're very naive in a way. We thought we could have a class, have a big class, like 15 people. No, we're not going to do that. So we've learned that's not going to happen. So we've changed our model to being accepting apprenticeships. So now when we talk to Cooperative Christian Ministries, when we talk to Fathers on the Move, which is a nonprofit out of Chapel Hill that works with people getting out of prisons to make a plan before they get out of prison, we're presenting ourselves like that, saying we'll work with your schedule, and we'll take apprenticeships, and you can come to us and work through the material, work on your skills till you're ready, because the population that we're trying to attract, they can't afford to take 8 weeks off of part-time jobs or whatever they're trying to do to get back in the community. So we've learned that the model we thought we could offer isn't going to work. So we're approaching it from that standpoint now, apprenticeships. Maybe one day when we have grown the program and we have more instructors, maybe then we could offer classes with like 15 people at a time, but we're not there yet. We're still building it.
I've been to some of these fundraisers. Food's delicious. Kathy?
Thank you for being here. I have been to one of them too, to come by and pick up a couple of takeout lunches. I didn't know, I only knew that because Carol had sent something. So we need to know when those opportunities are, because I would certainly be back.
Okay.
It was delicious.
Yeah. Thank you.
And my question was, what is your pipeline, which sort of tags onto Joe's question? Is it word of mouth? Is it Opportunity House? Is it, how do you find people that might want to apprentice with you?
Yes, it is Opportunity House, Corporate Christian Ministry. We network with them. And like Alice said, Fathers on the Move is a new program in Kannapolis that reaches out to people coming out of federal prisons. We also recently just got approved to go into the jail. We got that approval this week to go into the jail, and we have to go and talk to them.
And believe it or not, I was the holdup on that. They couldn't get my
So
Well, and to piggyback on that, the reason they couldn't get it approved is because I listed Scott Paget as one of my friends. And, he was my principal for 15 years, so, and he never did call the lady back. I think he'll recommend me. So, we'll have to let Scott when he shows back at church. He goes to this church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that program, once we go in and start talking to the inmates there, then we're looking very, very positive and hopeful that we're going to start to receive inmates that's being released from the county jail that's going to come to our program. We also have one of the judges on our board that we haven't kind of worked it out yet, to where someone comes before her and say, hey, here's an alternative. Go to second course instead of going here. So we're trying to work on that as well. And still word of mouth. Our website is still under development, but it has grown. So we're at secondcourse.org, and you'll be able to see certain things that we're starting to do. And before, Alice built the foundation for our website, and she would always say, Colin, I don't like computers, but she tried. Alice is my rock. She stayed on it, and would try to mess around with it and got it going, and then somebody came into our lives, somebody she knows, and just jumped on board, and now she's working on the website. It's really going to be a great website when it's completed. We're going to have a donate button on it, all kind of other features. And I'm not that technical savvy as well, but when I looked at it the other day, I was like, oh man, it's really coming along. So that's also going to be another avenue of how we reach out to the community, and then word of mouth going around, feeding the homeless and passing out our rack cards, information cards, giving them to people, letting them know where we're at, what we're doing, and to come and participate and be a part of what we're trying to do in the community to help people.
Colin, thank you so much for being here and explaining to us about second course. So this judge, who is the judge?
Oh, Judge Allen.
Okay, so you apparently visited with her, and she's up for election, is she not?
Yes.
So you visited with her. Is it likely that other judges will come on board? I mean, are you able to get in to see them and help them understand that you have an alternative to maybe serving time in the county jail to help these inmates? Is that what you're working on?
Yeah, that's what we would definitely like to work on, not just with Judge Allen, but with other judges, just without the court system in general and the jails. Because we met with was it Corporal or was it Sergeant? Lister?
Head Lister. I forgot his title.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's in the sheriff's.
Windley are contacts with the sheriff's department. But I've got to admit, it's such a learning curve for me. I don't know how it works, how sentencing or how assignments work. And that's why we're talking to people like your community and your congregation. We're open to guidance and we're open to suggestions. We need to learn how to better deliver what we have to offer. So help us to figure that out.
So do you need help getting in to see the other judges?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay, so this is Judge Juanita Boger Allen.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we might know some people that know some people.
That's what we're here.
Debbie?
I join with the others in thanking you for being here. Clearly, you're putting a lot of pieces in place and getting launched, and it's early in the process. I'm curious about the structure of the curriculum. What do you have in place in terms of what do you teach these people, and how do you know when they have completed the learning process?
Okay. Well, when they come into the kitchen, like I said, they're not going to become this great chef. That takes time. So I'm not going to give anybody false hope, but what I will give them is a foundation. We're going to teach them basic knife skills. We're going to teach them how to have a sense of urgency in the kitchen. They're going to also learn all the aspects of Surf Safe. Surf Safe is a program, or it's an educational part of the culinary field where they learn how to properly handle food. And they get a certificate from the National Restaurant Association saying that they have been trained in all of these fields of properly handling food, food storage, cleaning. They also learn about contaminants, biological contaminants, physical contaminants. They learn how to keep food safe without making somebody sick or killing them. Because it's very important that someone knows raw chicken should not be placed over the top of salad that somebody's going to eat, because that can contaminate them. It's salmonella, and it could kill them. Salmonella can kill you. So those are the part of the things on that curriculum that they will learn how to properly handle food. So when they walk into a restaurant, they know, oh, this is not in the right place. It needs to go here because this is going to make you sick if you put it here. And that restaurant manager or kitchen manager is going to say, oh, they have training. And so that's also part of the curriculum. And they'll receive a certificate from second course saying that they have completed our course, and they're gonna get basic baking skills. They're gonna learn how to read basic measurements. The key factors that will give them that structure for that foundation that we wanna create so that they can go to the next level. So that if they wanna go to